Okay, got the fire going. We're really prepped for tonight. All right, should be good tonight. Oh yeah. By the way, those of you guys who are wondering, Silverback didn't build this. I did. Let me just get set up here. I'm running a little late, as you guys can tell. Hmm. Let me just pull in real quick. All right, we are in. All right, so let's get into it. What's going on, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another episode of Lawn Fires, where the fires are hot, the lawns are green, and the questions are engaging. Welcome back to another episode. For those of you guys who are new here, basically what this is, it's a weekly Friday night live show that I do every Friday night, sitting by a bonfire, where I answer some of your most frequently asked questions throughout the week, live in real time via YouTube chat. So if you have any questions, leave them in the chat. With all that being said, let's get into it. Let's see what we got in here. What's up, Ronald D. Rashid? How you doing, brother? Nick Schneider, how are you? Eric Von Weddle, couldn't forget you, man. How are you doing? David Winch, how are you, bro? Ronald D. Rashid, hoping for record attendance tonight. Yeah, man. I agree with you. The Lawn Care Addicts. Happy Friday, brother. Thomas Bates the third. Jake, what's up? Hello from New Jersey. Thomas Bates, what's up from Indiana, bro? The region. How are you? Striper Man, what's up, brother? How are you? Fireworks for Life, how are you? Connor Ward, can you please tell someone that I said hi? Yes, I will tell Silverback when he gets back. Let's see what we got here. Connor, it's an honor. What a good rhyme right there. Connor, it's an honor. Huh. Campfire, it's 83 degrees down here. No time for campfires. Yeah? Well, it's like 49 degrees over here, so we got plenty of time for them. Brad Abraham, thank you so much, bro. Appreciate the dedication. Tim Fisher, what's going on? Labier Brewer, looks like a new name. What's up? If you're new, welcome to the stream. Andy's Lawn Care and Outdoor Adventures. Yesterday it was 80 degrees, 53 today, and 83 for tomorrow. Unreal. Yeah, man, it's been crazy. I guess global warming is getting the best of us right now. Here's a good one. I knew I was going to get this. I knew it. 1 second. Let me finish doing this. So one question I got is, what do you recommend to kill Poa annua? It's just been a pain in my behind. Yes. What's your name? D. Wittmeyer, 3005. I understand exactly what you're talking about. Poa annua looks like bluegrass, but it's more of a lime green plant, grows in clumps. It's very ugly. It's an annual, so it dies at the end of the year, drops seeds before it dies, and then germinates in the spring. As far as control, unfortunately, there are no selective weed controls that I know of at the moment that will take care of it. Post-emergently, your only option would be to use glyphosate, which is something I don't recommend doing, especially if you already have a nice lawn, because I'm telling you, by the time we get to summer and we start irrigating and just keep pushing this lawn like normal, it's going to, the Poa trivialis and the Poa annua that you have right now, it's going to gradually start to fade away, and the bluegrass that you have in there, if you have bluegrass, is going to start to take over. So to answer your question, as far as how to control it, there's no way to control it post-emergently without using glyphosate, which again, just don't recommend that. Your best option, though, if you have a really bad POA outbreak, would be to use a pre-emergent herbicide like prodiamine or dithiopyr. And what I want you to realize is that if you do decide to go that route, you're not going to be able to aerate and overseed like you want to, because the chemistry of the pre-emergent, as it is meant to interrupt growth patterns, it will do the same for your new seeds. So that's not something you want to mess around with. So make a decision based on your situation and move forward accordingly. So as far as we've been doing here, pre-emergent in early spring, and another one sometime right now would probably be the best time. And once you get to early September, whenever soil temperatures hit 70 degrees, that's when you want to get that third pre-emergent down. Man, it's windy out here though. I'm glad I built this fire. Hold on, who's calling me? I'm gonna decline on that. Get a little closer to this fire. Oh, it feels so nice. By the way, you guys are gonna love this tonight. I got my sister Kylie. I'm sure Connor knows who Kylie is. Kylie's inside right now moderating the stream tonight via my computer. So she's going to be the one putting the links in the bio tonight. So Kylie, if you're there, feel free to type something. Let me know you're here. Just be like, what's up or whatever. Just let me know you're in here. So yeah, she's going to be posting links tonight. So Kylie, thank you so much for helping me. It means a lot. I'm glad you could take an hour out of your time to help me. Let's see what we got going on here in the chat. How often do you use a liquid dethatcher, Elway 2KS? Well, ever since I've learned what the product was, I use it all the time now. I use it all the time. And the reason I use it all the time is because it's a more sustainable approach, right? What's nice about the dethatch product, especially from the next line, is the chemistry in it, the digestive agents that are within it. It allows that thatch to, it allows heat to be built up and conducted. And then once that happens, it'll put that thatch back into the ground so it can be used as a food source for new growth to come. So that's a really nice way to look at it, really sustainable way to recycle, if you will, because if we didn't have that liquid product, I'm sure a lot of us would be renting mechanical dethatchers and taking that stuff out and hauling it off to the dump, which just isn't a good idea, especially if we can reuse it and recycle it as much as possible, which, if you think about it, that's really what lawn care is, right? It's recycling. What I want you to realize, right, is that we preach recycling all the time, especially with mowing. We tell you to mulch because we want you to recycle those nutrients. They're in a different form at that point. We want you to recycle those nutrients back into the ground so they can be utilized to feed more growth. Make sense? So that's why I like the dethatch product, and to answer your question, I use it all the time now. Now, there are some drawbacks to it. The fact that you do have to wait for heat, but due to the chemistry, that's how it is anyway. So once we get a little warmer here pretty soon, we will be doing a video on the dethatch and how to use it and the benefits that it does. Kylie, how you doing? Once again, thank you for helping me out, sister. Appreciate you. Let's see. Let's get in the chat here some more. Jake, how much iron is too much? I get iron from my BioStim pack, standard apps. I also get iron from Milo, recommended rate. Would adding more liquid iron be too much? Absolutely. Because what I want you guys to realize is that when in doubt, when you feel that you've applied too much iron, especially if you're using Milorganite, which is a 2.5, and the, let me see here, the biostimulant pack, that's going to be the microgreen, that's another 2%. You're fine. You don't need any more. All right? Just let it be what it is. I promise you, you're going to see results, especially with that small amount. I know because I've used Milorganite in the past without these products, and I'm telling you, it will turn your lawn a dark green. But with the product, that extra 2%, it will definitely make your lawn green. So the reason I say don't add any more is because I want you to think about it, right? I believe microgreen is 3% iron, and what? Milorganite is 2.5, so that's already about 5.5% iron. That's enough for you. You don't want to, I believe you don't want to exceed about 7 or 8. If you do that, you're going to end up turning your lawn dark gray, maybe even black. Not a good idea, so when in doubt, don't over apply iron, as it can be detrimental if you have too much. I hope that answered your question. Ned. Drew Sorson Music. Hi Jake, got any advice for dealing with the neighbor's bamboo invading my lawn? It's currently tearing my lawn apart from below. Bamboo? Drew Sorensen Music. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what the heck bamboo is. But if you would like, I will leave my email right here at the bottom of the chat. Email me and just say, hey, I came in from the live stream, I'd ask you a question. Because in this way, if I can't answer it on the spot, I can go into further diagnostic throughout the week, and then I can possibly get you an answer by next weekend at the latest. So if you would like to email me, my email is sullivanjacob68@gmail.com. Email me there for any of your latest and greatest lawn care questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them. All right, let's keep going. Let me get back up here. Ronald D. Connor Ward, you are funny. Love your videos. Yeah, Connor is a funny dude, man. I love Connor so much, especially after meeting him in person. He's like a big freaking kid. I love Connor. Brad Abraham. Hey, Jake, I'm down here in South Louisiana. My POA is starting to die out. When it does die, should I rake it up or let it decay? Well, if you have a thick stand of turf and it starts to die out, I wouldn't worry about raking it up, especially if it's intertwined with your good grass. Definitely use the dethatch product from the Next Line. That's going to be really good. But remember, the only way you're going to get full efficacy out of it is if you have a lot of heat in the forecast. So if it's a little cold by you, I suggest you wait until we get into the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s range. Because once we get there and we're getting heat in the middle of the day, it's going to activate that product and it's going to work to the best of its ability. So yeah, if you have a thick stand of turf and it's intertwined in there, I don't recommend raking it out. Ain't going to hurt a thing. Rami Kleinpetter. Jake, I have different grass varieties in sections of my yard that have slight different shades and growth rates. What are my options? This is a great question. So if you have different varieties throughout your yard, like for example, if you have like one variety of bluegrass over here or another variety of tall fescue or whatever over here, I guess your options would be just to work with it, because if you have a good stand of turf, what I recommend you do is you just overseed with something that has all of those grass types intertwined with it, which brings me to one of my favorite seeding companies, my good friends over at Seed Superstore, Drew over there. It's www.seedsuperstore.com. Look them up, they're great folks. What they specialize in is making professional quality seed that is made specifically for your situation, thus it'll last longer in the long term. Now, to kind of defend myself for a minute, because one thing I used to say in the past, as far as seed goes, is that just go to the store, get anything Scott's or Pennington, and that'll be a great choice. But one thing I'm learning now as I advance myself into this field is that yes, Scott's and Pennington are great choices, but make sure that they're pure. Make sure that you have no weed seeds in there whatsoever, because I'm telling you, that small percentage of weed seed in there can equate to a lot of seeds in your grow, because I want you to keep in mind that when you're spreading that seed, you're broadcasting it over your entire lawn. So of course you're going to have a lot of weed seeds consistently throughout your lawn. That's not something you want to do. So make sure that whatever you do, make sure you get the cleanest seed as possible. So take a lot of the guesswork out of that. Again, my friends at seedsuperstore.com, they will help you out there and get you good quality seed. Now, as far as when to do your seeding, once you get to fall time and you notice the temperature starting to come down, that would be the best time to do it. Now, one more question I think I forgot to ask you, Grammy. Where are you located exactly? Because the timing could be different if you're located somewhere else, as well as the strategy. Because one habit I do have, because I talk to a lot of cool season people who live up here in Indiana and higher, is that, our seasons are pretty much the same. We push the lawn in the spring, we back off of it in the summer, we supplement with micros, and then once we get to fall, that's typically when we start to push it again, and then in addition to that, we do our aeration and overseeding. So if you could let me know your city and state, that'll help me a lot, because that'll dictate the strategy. So yeah, Rami, let me know that and I will get back to you in the chat. Billy Candleman. Hey Connor, are you going to do a follow-up on your Super Juice? Yeah, man, that was funny. By the way, Connor, if you're still on here, man, thanks for the shout out on that. I appreciate it. The Jake the Lawn Kid Double Dark Yard. That was great. Andy, keep up the great work, bro. Love your channel. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate your dedication, brother. Grass Top Notch Lawn Care. What is happening with your truck, buddy? That is a great question. I do not have it at the moment because one of my good buddies down the street is borrowing it. Should get it back here within a week or so. Travis Davis, what's up, dude? How you doing? Glad you could make it in here. For those of you guys who don't know Travis, him and I met at GIE. Super cool, down-to-earth dude. Talking to me a lot about his yard. In fact, I think him and I might do some collaborations this season. I'm not really sure. All I know is I got to get done with school first. I got 2 more weeks left, and then once I'm out of there, I can start going full force with all this stuff. But either way, fun stuff coming up. Hopefully Travis and I could get together because he seems like a really cool dude from first time I met him. Just down-to-earth dude. Excellence in lawn care. How is your lawn care business going? It's going good. I'm going to be super honest with you guys. I have about half as much clientele as I did last year. I know I closed with about 10 or 12, but right now I currently have about 6 or 7. And, that's really nothing surprising with me because once we start up again, I really start with about 7 or 8, and then from there, I have people come in throughout the season via advertising, word of mouth, all that stuff. Jesus. Anyway, so I'm expecting to grow that back from here. I just passed out a bunch of pamphlets on this block over here, doing an experiment. I believe I did it on Wednesday night, and so far I got 1 call from All That Works, but hey, when they talk about direct mail, you only get about a 1% closing rate, so you can't really expect a whole lot. But either way, I'm fortunate to get what I can. Hoping to grow this year big time, especially when I get my truck back here. Jake, you got to change lawn fires in the summer with something else cooler. You know what, Plato? I agree with you, but I think what I might do is I might push these back a little later, especially in the summer, so that way we could do them at night. Because the nighttime temperatures, especially on the cooler days, we get about 70, 60. Is that recording again? Getting a little behind the scenes action for tomorrow's video. I love this fire. That's what I love about shooting on windy days. It just helps hold the fire. Anyway, let's get back into it. I'm thinking Jake's guns are growing like his grass. Man, I appreciate that, brother. Travis, you are the man. Rashid wants to know, am I applying Milorganite on Memorial Day? This is a great question, Rashid, because I know I've done it so many years. But as far as my front yard, unfortunately, I am not using Milorganite this year because I am using my front lawn to do the Next Step liquid lawn care program that I came up with the next products. So all liquid this year, no granular. However, I think I might break that rule a little bit if I can get some Carbon X here, because from what I've seen Carbon X do, I'm definitely going to have to use it on this lawn at some point. But all I know is that for now, strictly liquid, no granular. However, I will be using Milorganite on another project that I'll be talking about on the channel tomorrow night, as well as a little giveaway for those of you guys who are interested in that kind of thing, that little extra incentive. Make sure that you tune into tomorrow's video, where I will be talking to you guys about a giveaway that I'll be doing in conjunction with the series I'm doing. I hope that makes sense. God, I gotta back away. It's getting hot. It's hot! CCCC wants to know, what about Super Juice? Don't have any at the moment. Don't know if I'm going to get any either, really. But we'll see. Eric Von Whittle, Jake, how often do you have to spot treat for weeds in the lawn? This is a great question. I'd say about once a week, really. Now, not the same weeds. The reason I say that is because, we have a lot of weeds popping up in different areas, and that's only because what I do is a spot spray application, not so much a blanket preventative like we're used to. It's just post-emergent spot spraying. So you often have a lot of dandelions, especially this time of year, that pop up in all sorts of different areas throughout your yard. So as far as how often, I'd say about once a week, go on weed patrol with your hand can sprayer and spot spray any of the, spot spray any of the pests that we call them, the pesky weeds that show up in the lawn. And then, following the playlist, to make sure that you're compensating in the long term with other practices to prevent the severity of the weeds if they do come back, or at least reduce it. Because one reason you have weeds is because there's something wrong internally or externally with your lawn. So at that point, you want to make sure that you compensate for those issues. You want to make sure that you compensate for those issues. A good example would be if you're mowing poorly, if you're not fertilizing enough, if you don't have enough nutrients in your yard, you want to make sure you compensate for all that. You want to make sure that you get your lawn back on par so that if you do get weeds, it's not going to be as severe as it is right now. I hope that makes sense, Eric Von Whittle. Because honestly, I'm spraying weeds once a week, but I'm hoping to back that down as I build the quality of my soil. I hope that makes sense. That's what I hate about windy days. But it keeps the fire alive, so I can't complain. Brother and sister team, I love it. Yeah, man, great family here. I love them so much. Plateau. Okay, back to seriousness. I've been using for my previous comment on lawn fires in the summer, so I'm only used Milo for as long as I can remember, and want to get a granular product, potassium. Plateau, I'm glad you asked. We have new products coming to market now. As always, 002 microgreen, that's your friend. Next aerate, that's a good product. Carbon X, I believe that's 11% potassium. So if you're looking for a potassium supplement and you want to kind of introduce some different biologics into your soil, then Carbon X would be a great way to go. Now, I know that Alan and Pete, their stores are selling out really fast because it is a really popular product. But we'll have to see what we can do in the future. But all I know is that Carbon X is a great supplement. Green Punch, Microgreen, that's a good one. 002. And then the Aerate product. Great supplement for potassium. Check it out. We got a mowing crew over here. Could add some background noise along with all the birds chirping and everything, because that's I know that's what you guys want, right? It's been such a cold winter. To compensate for that, we need that spring activity going on. Sean McLaughlin, Jake, any word on Carbon X? Good question. Yes, it's available right now on Alan and Pete's store. Unfortunately, I don't sell it at the moment because I don't have my own outlet, but all I can tell you is that Alan and Pete are stocked with it. So go check their websites. That's not going to be too loud, is it? I just want to make sure. They're only going to be here for like 20 minutes and then they're gone. I just want to make sure that's not too loud. LeBeer Brewer, Red Thread, got a big time in my KBG, putting down 2 fungicides tomorrow. Good man. Andy's Lawn Care and Outdoor Adventures. Do you have some merch for sale? And can you do a meetup someday? Andy? I don't have a merch store at the moment. I'm working on it. Expect that sometime this season. If not, over the winter, I will have it done. I would love to do a meetup. I would love to. In fact, you know what? If I do it, I'm going to try and get some more community members involved with it. See if maybe I can get some people to come from out of state. Eric Von Whittle, I am in South Louisiana too. I won't see cold again until Christmas. Yeah, man. Well, so, of course it's going to be warm by you. You live in the South. You live by the freaking coast. Arun Kaleselvan, if that's how I pronounce your name. Jake, what is your plan for Poa trivialis in your lawn? Well, as I've told you, she's the moderator tonight.
Hi, guys.
Everybody, I want you to thank her right now. She's taken an hour out of her time to moderate for me. By the way, what are you doing out here?
I just went to say hi. And I was getting food.
All right, back to work. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Where was I? Oh yeah, Poa trivialis is my lawn. All I'm doing right now is I'm letting it go because once we get hotter here in the summer, that heat will take care of it. And I know because my bluegrass is so thick, it's going to take over in those areas. So yeah, as far as annual bluegrass and trivialis in my lawn, I'm gonna let it do its thing. I'm gonna let it go through, especially because it's not really affecting me too much with consistency, because I mow my lawn as often as every 2 days during the peak of the season, which is right now. So I'm mowing it every 2 days, and in conjunction with that, I'm also fertilizing monthly with the next products and putting down the aerate and just pushing the grass that's here, because once it dies off, that grass is just gonna start to just blow up and grow in those areas. I'm telling you, it looks ugly right now, but once we get into the summer, you're not going to notice it, especially once we start mowing taller. And then, of course, whatever doesn't fill in, we can always fill in the gaps with some seed in the fall. Now, this actually brings me to something else. If you guys do want to use glyphosate on the trivialis and do some seeding in those areas, good idea. But probably not a good idea right now, as it will take a couple of weeks for the glyphosate to work. I just wouldn't recommend that. Hang on. Mowing guys are freaking distracting me. Anyway, as I was saying, you kill it off and then you can seed it, but keep in mind, once you seed it, you got to be on patrol with it. You got to make sure that you keep it watered every single day, because one thing that happens, especially in May, as we progress from mid to late, is the temperatures are going to start drastically rising. So at that point, we want to make sure that we're compensating with lots and lots of water. Now, as far as how often you have to water, you don't have to water too deep, especially like I typically recommend with your lawn. Just water 20 minutes, 3 times a day, 20 minutes each time, morning, afternoon, evening. Keep that seed wet as long as possible until it gains a foothold. Stuff about the bamboo might be interesting for you. Yeah, Drew Sorensen, email me. Appreciate it. Wind, man. Aerate in the fall seed or aerate seed. Do I need to punch holes in the lawn prior to seeding to improve germination? Want to consider liquid aeration versus mechanical and see if it works. D. Whitmire, I'm glad you asked about that. You do not need mechanical aeration to open up the ground. In fact, let me come up here real quick. So, whoever asked that question, let me just go ahead and ask you that, Kylie, you know it. That's right. That's why you'll never cut this lawn. But listen, once I can get Kylie out on the field with me, she'll be cutting some yards with me. I'm sure she will. The problem is that every time I ask her to come work, The problem is that every time I ask her to come to work, she always backs out. Kylie, you cannot deny this because you know that. Anyway, back to the question. Where was it in here? Can you guys hear me okay? I know they're being loud and it's got a little bit of wind tonight, but we're going to make it work. So anyway, where was I with the questions? Oh yeah, so I want you to think of mechanical or liquid aeration, or really any aeration, as a separate entity to your seeding, right? It's not needed for seed germination, because when you're seeding, you're trying to fill in the gaps. You're trying to fill in bare spots that just couldn't fill in during the duration of the season. Aeration, what you're trying to do is you're loosening up that soil, if at all it's compacted, so that we can allow for more air, water, nutrients to penetrate. So aeration and overseeding, often done together, do not, you know what I'm saying? They don't rely on each other though, but it's good that you do them together because they complement each other really well. Now, I do like the fact that you do use the liquid aeration product because it is going to open up more surface area as opposed to the mechanical aerator, which is only poking holes in about 20% of the soil surface. Whereas that aerate product, it's an even blanket across your lawn. It's literally going to open it up. It's literally going to open the pores up in the soil, break bonds, and allow for that air, water, nutrient to penetrate down into the soil and make room for that root growth that we're going to be pushing with the RGS product to help that seed grow and those roots grow even deeper. So I hope that makes sense, DeWitt Meyer. Aeration and overseeding, they're not really something that rely on one another. They're not really something that are dependent on each other. They're not really things that are dependent on each other, but it's good that you do them together as they will ensure you the most success. Make sense? All right. Well, they're almost done, so I'm just going to stay right here. I gotta adjust the fire so while I'm talking to you. By the way, the wind isn't too bad, is it? I hope not. Beautiful. Beautiful night tonight. So, you guys have some really good questions tonight. Thank you so much, man. I'm having a great time with all of you tonight. You guys asked some really good questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of why I started this show, because I love engaging with you guys. You guys are fun to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fun. It's fun because it teaches me a thing or two every time I talk to you guys, and, I have to email you. I have to email you guys back, especially with stuff I don't know about, because then it helps me become smarter. And I love that, man. I love talking to all of you. I'm sure all of you know that by now, but you guys are my family. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for making it worth the while, every single one of you. That's all I'm going to say. Now, don't worry, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm not wrapping up. I'm just thanking all of you for your support and dedication and your good questions, as you do help me get smarter in my lawn care ventures. All right. You guys can hear me now, right? I just want to make sure audio's good. Kylie, if you're in there, how's the audio? Can you hear me okay? Is the wind sweeping across the camera? I'd appreciate the feedback. God, that's roaring. Audio's good? All right. They're starting to quiet down. See, I told you, 20 minutes they'd be gone. Let's get back into it. See, for those of you guys who are asking me questions, it may take a couple minutes. I want to apologize about that. I want to make sure I answer everybody's question, and I want to do it in a minimum amount of time. So if I'm a little behind, forgive me. I will get to your question as soon as I can. Hang on. All right. Psyched about the LCN Lawn Revival. What's your biggest challenge over there so far, and how are you tackling it? I'm glad you asked that. What's your name? Jeremy Goodwin? I'm not really having a lot of challenges right now. I mean, the only one for being the thatch, or the dead stuff from last year, right? Because this lawn hasn't been raked over the winter or properly cut down like it should be, just because I didn't start on it until the spring, and I had to just kind of pick up where Megan left off and get things back on track. But either way, not bashing Megan there, just saying, had to get things back on track as far as the spring goes. I have a little bit of a layer, a thatch layer, right? And it's not too bad right now because the lawn actually looks really, really good, like green and thick. But we need to put that thatch back in the ground, and I haven't been able to do that lately because it's been it's been pretty cold. We have had days where it's been in the 80s and the 70s like I recommended, but even on days where it's not there, we get temperatures falling back down into the freaking 40s for some reason. It's annoying. It's annoying. It happens every freaking, you know what I'm saying? Like every freaking week. You think the temperatures are coming up and then boom, it goes back down. Like the weather's teasing us, but all I know is that once we get warmer, I'll be able to take care of that. And I do have a couple of sections along the side of the house that are really dense in ground ivy, or creeping Charlie as we call it. And the way it's just very dense over there, I gotta kill that stuff off, and then I gotta thicken the turf over there. Like it's a little bad over there. I'll show it to you guys in an upcoming video soon. But all I know is that I need to focus on killing that off, and then once I kill that off, I'm gonna get a little warmer. I use the dethatch product, digest that material, put it back into the ground, and then maybe follow up with some aerate to open the soil up, and then some RGS to stimulate root growth, some humic 12 to enhance nutrient availability, and then from there, we can get things growing. If not, if whatever doesn't fill in, like I said, fall time, aerate and overseed, fill in the gaps. Gotta run, Jakester. Catch you next week. All right, Andy, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. Kurt Ryder, hey Jake, I want to put some Next products down this weekend. We are supposed to get a lot of rain. Can there be too much rain for the Next products? Kurt, this is a great question, but I have a question for you. When are you getting the rain? So what I recommend you do if you have a rain in the forecast, Kurt, is I apply it a couple hours prior, so then that way it can, at least dry a little bit. Especially if you're applying the aerate product. Now you don't want it to dry too much because it's not a foliar application. You actually do want to get water on it within 10 minutes. Actually, wait a minute. That's not right. I apologize. I'll own up to that. That was not right. With the Next products, you want to make sure the least you can let it go without being watered is 10 minutes. So if you can get it down at least maybe an hour, that's what I recommend. Get it down an hour prior to that rainstorm, and you should be fine, especially if you're using the aerate product, because the aerate product is meant to improve water penetration. So having that product, it'll kind of help the water get down deep into the soil where it needs to be, to help with further root growth in the future, which is what we want. Don't you hate when your lawn guys don't sharpen the mowers and cut your grass? Yeah, man, I hate that, even though I don't deal with that. Florida lawns, so I was reading something about 10-10-10 fert used as a regular fert for one season to get the NPK up. What are your thoughts on this? Are you talking about a stable fertilizer, 10-10-10? I mean, it can be done, but I don't think it's that beneficial, because while you have good results, like literally within a week, because it's a synthetic product, once you put it down, it literally starts working. Buddy's texting me. I got another school project I gotta invite a group over for. God. Enough with the frickin' projects, man. Just let me get out of school already. It's a little nippy out. Gotta coat up. Gotta suit up. But yeah, Florida lawns, because it's a synthetic product, it's only going to feed the plant and not the soil. And for that reason, it's not a good stable fertilizer, because once you stop applying it, the lawn is immediately going to fall apart. Because you got to remember, when you want a healthy lawn, you have to make sure that you're building and feeding the soil. If you're not doing that, you're just feeding the grass plant correctly, well, you're going to have good results no matter what you do. But just keep in mind that if you do decide to go the full-on synthetic route, you're going to have to constantly stay on it. If you miss an application, everything can fail. Everything can fall apart because your soil isn't right. I hope that makes sense. Both Alan and Pete are clean out of Carbon X already, man. Wow. Well, I'm sure that'll be resolved soon. Like I said, if not, 1801 Green Punch, potassium supplement, as well as a couple other products from the Next line. It's a pain. How should I separate my next products with ortho sprayer? I'm thinking RGS to aerate, then Humic 12 and dethatch. Ricardo Garcia, what I recommend you do, if it's not too much of an inconvenience, spray them all out individually on the same day. Especially if you're a beginner. It's an easy way to start, and you can cover a lot more ground with that single product and be done with it quicker and then move on to the next one. Now, if you have a bigger lawn, I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head the best way to mix it. All I know is that those products are pretty dense, especially the dethatch and the aerate. So you might want to consider doing those separately, whereas the RGS and the Humic 12, those can be mixed together. That's all I can tell you. I'm not 100% confident about mixing dethatch and aerate, so especially in a hose end. I hope that makes sense. Dude, it's just like Why? Because I got the fire. Who's texting me? Oh, sorry about that. One of my group partners